Welcome to Sparks Stadium in Puyallup, Washington. The WIAA Network presents the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Les Schwab Tires 3A Girls Soccer Championships. This is the consolation matchup between Holy Names and the Patriots of Liberty. Glad you could join us this morning. Alex Webster along with John Horton in what we call kind of the matchup you didn't want to have. These are the two teams that played off in the semifinals yesterday against opponents. Came up on the short end of the stick. They come back. They get another chance at life, another opportunity to play it out for a lot of the seniors. This is their last opportunity. They get to battle it out for third place, and so an opportunity to come out here with mixed emotion.
These are the games where tears turn to determination. After last night's game, both teams going off the field, really emotional. They thought that they had an opportunity to win that championship, but somewhere along the sleeping overnight and in the morning, those tears turned to determination because they know that a bigger trophy is at stake, third place as opposed to fourth, and for a lot of people, that means the end of a season on a victory for one team and the end of the season on a loss for the other.
Well, the Liberty Patriots come in as the champions of KingCo 3A. They're ranked 5th in the state and will have a record of 14-4-1. They'll be the team in blue to the left on your screen, and they came out of last night's competition in the semifinal, a heartbreaker against Columbia River. Columbia River avenging a loss to Liberty last year in the opening round. It was the Patriots getting on the board first. However, in the second half, Columbia River scores a goal. They go to overtime. Then they go to penalty kicks and heartbreak as they lose 5-4 on the penalty kicks. And so they'll have to regroup here against a tough Holy Names Cougars squad. The Cougars coming in 15-6-2. They are the team in white with the maroon shorts. They are ranked 7th in the state, had won 8 in a row before they ran into an undefeated buzzsaw in Mount Spokane. The Wildcats handing them a 2-0 loss. And their head coach, Teddy Matalis, saying in the paper afterwards that this is a bigger stage than they're accustomed to. And he had hoped that they had risen up to that point with a bunch of seniors on that squad. But this was a little bit of foreign territory for them. And unfortunately for Mount Spokane, or rather for Holy Names, Mount Spokane, a team with a lot of determination, was able to get an early score and able to add on to it. And for the Cougars, this is the outcome, a trip to the semifinal, or rather to the consolation game.
And Matalis is a great motivator. He's very well known along the club circuit. And working with these Holy Names players, I'm sure he's got them ready to go for the third place game today.
And the Cougars coming out of the Metro Mountain Division. That's a tough one where the defending champion from Seattle Prep hails. Prep was eliminated earlier by Columbia River, but the Metro Mountain represented well here in the Final Four with the Holy Names Cougars. Let's get a look at the starting lineups. In the front line for Holy Names, Julia Hahn, one of the many seniors. They have about 10 of them, 6 of them heading on to collegiate soccer next year. But Julia Hahn, Katie Chandler, and Emily Sadolinek, all seniors across that front line. And you saw an early save there for Liberty.
Annie Ellenberg in goal for Liberty, and Kayla Baskett in goal for Holy Names.
Yes, and the Cougars with Mackenzie Oliger, a senior, Katrina Holt, and Annie Flora across the midfield. And in the back line, Katie Kipp, Claire Capilotto, Michaela McGonigal, and A.J. Fisher, the aforementioned Kayla Baskett in goals. Yet to see action thus far on the far right of your screen. For the Liberty Patriots, they're head coached by Tammy Wynn, formerly Tammy Bennett, with a long history in the state of Washington in soccer. More on that coming up. But Amy Ellenberg with 3 saves yesterday in goal. Just a junior, will be back next year. And that back line for Liberty there in blue, Katie Noonan, Taylor Sakira, Leah Grefton, and Molly Cook. The midfield is Tara Johnson, Nicole Marlowe, Kiana Hafferty, a first-teamer out of KingCo 3A. Here's the throw-in coming from the Cougars, chipped for a goal kick. And in the front line for the Patriots, Kayliana Johnson. She's another first-teamer out of the All-League in KingCo 3A. Jacqueline Anderson up front, and Kaylee Yugdal, a junior. A couple of juniors to go along with a senior. Cougars back the other way. Another shot. This one a little bit too high and wide of the mark, John.
Cougars not afraid to shoot it in the early moments. And one of the things that I noticed in the 4A games, and I'll be interested to know what you've noticed in the 3A games, is unforced errors seem to be the real concern of the teams that lost. I mean, just clearing it out of bounds with nobody there, just shooting it long, looking for anybody, and just playing it into space where nobody's there.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those concerns. You talk about kind of the missed opportunities, and the unforced errors are typically fall into that category. Whether or not it was shots on goal that was just a little bit left, a little bit right, maybe the one-timer as opposed to the pass inside. Some of those missed opportunities, and of course, you know, this is the lament of the folks that will play in these early consolation games is what could have been, but your focus has to be squarely on what's in front of you because you have a great competitor, be it Holy Names or be it Liberty, two teams ranked in the top 10 and showing what they're worth getting here to the state Final Four.
Liberty trying their first offensive charge while Holy Names having that back four trying to catch Liberty offside in many occasions.
Liberty, a team that played in the championship game last year, losing to Seattle Prep 3-2, so they're accustomed to this bigger stage. They're in their first year under head coach Tammy Wynn. They've been the 3A runner-ups. This is their fourth coach in 4 years. Wynn, formerly Tammy Bennett, once the state's career-leading scorer in high school with 152 goals at Seattle Christian.
And let's credit Abby Flora for Holy Names there, just all over the pitch, going after anybody who has the ball, like the Energizer Bunny out there.
Flora, just a freshman for the Cougars, so this is a great opportunity for the youth of Holy Names to get a taste of the state playoffs and this big stage and take that with her as a future leader of this Cougar program, one of them. And it's been the Holy Names Cougars with the early aggression, and a foul whistled here, so the Patriots will take it. And the Patriots are a team that are very offensive-minded. They love to attack, and we have yet to see a great deal of that so far as the Cougars controlling the early action.
Well, usually the opening minutes of any match are, with the exception of one we had last night for the 4A where a goal was scored just 20 seconds into the match. Here's Liberty with an opportunity.
Yep, they're setting it up nicely. The Cougars for the first time really back on defense. Looking to the left side, and that's Johnson. Double marked there. The sweep attempt is denied as the Patriots keep it in play. Here's Flora with it to boot it ahead, and she'll clear it out of bounds, and the Patriots will have it once again. Glad you could join us here from Spark Stadium in Puyallup, Washington. Just a little over 5 minutes into this one. The consolation matchup in the 3A. Here's a nice feed inside, and the Cougars deny once again. Patriots with their first surge really into Holy Names territory. Here's a nice lead pass up ahead. Race for it. Hahn in pursuit. She'll catch it on the left wing. Get marked there. Not a lot of help. Now here's a pass back. It's looking for Sadolinik.
Great opportunity for a cross for Chandler, but nobody happened to be home. Needed the extra players to come down.
Well, I wonder a little bit. This is an earlier start than a lot of teams will face throughout the bulk of the year. What kind of impact does that have, especially with kind of the sadness and the melancholy feeling after losing a semifinal just yesterday afternoon, less than 24 hours away?
I still wouldn't call it the Egg McMuffin game because it's not quite early for that.
No, it's not the basketball tournament, that's for sure.
But morning games, I'm sure every one of these young ladies is used to them. They all play some sort of off-season soccer, and sometimes you get 8 a.m. games at the most ungodly field on the coldest day of the year. They're used to it.
Weather at the start of this one not too shabby as we had rainfall throughout most of the semifinals last night. At least it's the precipitation has held off, although the temperature is in the 40s. It is traditional northwest weather here in November. And, of course, with Thanksgiving just a few days away, fortunate not to see those typical windstorms that we've had out here in the Pacific Northwest that have caused more than one turkey to be undercooked or thrown onto the barbecue.
Would that be a nor'wester as opposed to a nor'easter?
Well, we're blessed so far not to have seen the weather that they've seen on the East Coast early this fall. Nice throw in here for Liberty. They've got it out in front in a lot of traffic. Here's a spin and no shot attempt there as the Cougars able to close down on the space, and they get it nicely swept out of play.
We'll keep an eye throughout the match on Katie Noonan's ability to throw it all the way in to the 6-yard box, let alone the 18.
Katie Noonan getting a bit of an assist yesterday on the lone goal for the Patriots on a throw-in. She can get it right in front of the box. It's deadly and very similar to a corner kick, but with a lot more accuracy.
Well, we'll get an opportunity to see her work her magic once again, as you'll see that Liberty actually lines up quite a few people closer to the goal as opposed to taking them over to the far corner of the penalty area.
So Noonan, and one of the things that we notice is a long delay with some of these balls rolling out of bounds with the track around the field. So if you get a lead, it's an opportunity. Here's that throw in, and it's a good one. Liberty, nobody at home as it's headed out by Holy Names, and they'll look on the counterattack here. Little 2-on-3. Can they control it? No. They get it back, though, as Faust has it now, checking into the game. Patriots squirrel it away. There's Noonan with it on the side. Hafferty, first team midfielder. And here's a surge by Holy Names back deep. And Amy Ellenberg, who was tested early, has not seen a lot of action in the past few minutes. 3 saves in yesterday's semifinal. We're in the 10th minute.
Holy Names defensive now back 3, lined up like the Rockettes, just a straight line there, not allowing Liberty to get any runs forward.
A.J. Fisher booting that one away from the Patriot offense a moment ago. Here's an attack. Caitlin Faust. Check that.
That's Chandler.
That is Katie Chandler looking to the inside and had an opportunity with Julia Hahn there, but unfortunately just a little bit too far to the backside. Little miscommunication there. Patriots looking for their own counterattack here. 3-on-3 out on the left wing. Hafferty. Make that Katie French. Or Johnson, Kayliana missing on the opportunity.
And a lot of players just love going to the top corner. It's one of those places where most goalkeepers can't reach, and if you can nail the top corner consistently, your opponents just have no defense at all against it.
Yeah, it's trying to put it in that small, tight square, that area up in those upper corners where there really is no defense for it.
You can't tell I'm a goalkeeper's dad, can you?
You know, it's that strategy that comes into play. You know, you work on those things that you can control, those things that you can't. You know, you leave that up to the shooter, and if they're able to hit that mark, you just tip your hat and you say, great job by you in finding that spot. So the Patriots finding their way into the Holy Names side of the field for a while, but here a nice little delay as the Cougars will have it back. The head coach for Holy Names, Teddy Metalis, assisted by Jeff Bonaire, Abby Hunt, Sam Procopio, and Jennifer Sorensen. Metalis, the co-coach of the year in the Metro League Mountain Division. Scott Drucker of Bainbridge also sharing in that accolade. Meanwhile, Tammy Wynn of Liberty, the coach of the year in Kinko 3A. So you can't get here without some excellent coaching. You got a combination of solid players that understand that coaching. For Tammy Wynn, a little bit of an adjustment in her first year. Here's a nice look for the Patriots on the wing. Yogdal, ooh, got it swept, but got it back. Good challenge by the Cougars defense, and they get it moved out of play. Claire Capilotto, the midfielder, or rather the defenseman, moving that out. So Noonan with yet another strong throw in, headed out.
You'd almost think that the basketball coach at Liberty would want Noonan around just for, okay, throw the ball in. Oh, it's in the basket. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Teddy Metalis in his first year also at Holy Names Academy. And has had the benefit of 10 seniors on his squad this year. Of course, that makes it difficult for next year, but all the the kids that'll be coming back will have this memory and what it takes to get here, but also be motivated to try and get to the next level.
And it sometimes makes it difficult for a first-year coach to have players that have been in the program so long, used to one system, and then have to learn a whole different system as a new coach comes in. But Metalis is one of those coaches that is able to adjust because he sees new players almost every year on the club level.
And that is, it kind of goes without saying. We'll talk about it more throughout the broadcast. Here's a look for Holy Names. Julia Hahn centering. Was looking for Katie Chandler in there and just a little bit off the mark, but they're not done yet. Hahn with a look at it, but this one will go off the end line. The impact of club play and club sport is remarkable in the aspect of the development of the players and certainly of the coaching ranks as well.
And one of the important things, in at least the girls' side of things, is that they do get to play for their high schools. There's a lot of controversy going on the boys' side where a lot of club coaches do not want their kids playing high school soccer, and that's just wrong to me.
They were looking to feed it to Hahn there. There was Annie Flora with the pass up ahead, but a little bit out of control. As we're in our 15th minute now. 40-minute halves in high school soccer. Battle on the far side. And Faust getting it for the Cougars. The faithful for Holy Names and Liberty in the stands for this early morning affair. Both teams mounting a little bit of a challenge in the opening minutes of this one. Trying to see what will work out best for them. Yugdal on the near side, but a good defense by the Cougars as they've been able to thwart those offensive tries from a very offensive-minded Liberty squad that got to this point after a 2-0 victory over Peninsula in the first round, and then in the quarterfinals had to go to a shootout against Everett and ended up winning that before dropping the semifinal to Mount Spokane last night 2-0.
Well, I have to keep an eye for Holy Names Abby Flora. She's got such a powerful leg on her that she has the opportunity from way back in their own end of the field to start a counterattack. So keep an eye on that. In addition to hustling all over the place, she's pretty good on the kick too.
Liberty controlled a good amount of the game yesterday, but one of the things that they struggled with early on was a strong counterattack from Columbia River. Good defense here, and this one will be nicely placed. Good defense by A.J. Fisher to keep the striker away from that ball and allowing it to go over the end line. But that was one of the things Liberty had to adjust to, and they finally did. But unfortunately, it was a breakaway that split a couple of defenders that opened up for the equalizer, and then when it gets down to penalty kicks, it's anybody's contest.
Last night in one of the 4A contests, Camus playing with one forward and 6 defenders, basically because everybody was injured on the front line.
Oh, my goodness.
So Camus, their entire offense was from the counterattack.
Both teams operating with a 4-3-3 formation and with good goalkeeping on both sides. Here's a nice attack, pass up ahead, but the Cougars will look to get to it first, and a little bit of hesitation there by the keeper, Basket.
Got to have that communication there. Keeper's either got to yell it or get away from it.
Here's another feed inside. Good look up ahead. Yugdal. The Cougars able to control it for the moment. Getting it back. That's Johnson. Working it back to that other layer. Now intercepted by Holy Names. Noonan with it on the near side. Looking up ahead. Yugdal into the right corner. Oh, tough break. She had that one lined up for a nice cross and just could not control it well.
For Holy Names, Katie Kipp, one of the defenders right back by the goal, I think she might have gotten the wind knocked out of her. It took her a long time to get up following the play before that, and she was basically hobbling around in the 6-yard area before, luckily for Holy Names, the goal kick came up.
They might be looking at a substitution over on the far side. Looks like a pair of substitutes. We'll check in at the next opportunity for the Cougars. And we'll keep an eye on that. As the opportunity to replenish your squad a little bit different than maybe what some folks that follow the MLS and the other layers of sport might see.
Bill and I were joking that about the only thing they don't do is hop over the boards and get on the field. It's a pretty much free substitution with, of course, the permission of the officials, but there isn't any limit to going in and going out.
And that on a lot of layers in terms of health and safety, and then also in terms of participation. Those are all enabled. And here's Katie Noonan again. She'll get another throw in. And again, yesterday, Liberty's goal against Columbia River sparked by a throw in from Katie Noonan. I think catch lightning in a bottle once again. This one targeted directly at the goal. Off the carom, the Patriots had a look at it, and that was Kayleana Johnson. But it will go out of bounds again, and it'll be Noonan with another throw in for Liberty. This one a little bit shorter, trying a different offensive mindset. And the Cougars able to wrestle it away for a moment. Noonan back to the middle. That's Molly Cook. Working to Tara Johnson. Battling with a couple of Cougars there in the middle, and Holy Names clearing it back to midfield. Little 1-on-2 situation here. Katie Chandler up ahead. This is Julia Hahn. A shot on goal, but scooped up nicely by Amy Ellenberg, the junior keeper for Liberty.
Ellenberg with those bright orange, looks like Casillas gloves down there from the Real Madrid keeper. Each of the keepers have their own style of gloves that they like.
It's kind of like the hockey goaltenders with their masks.
Some kids pick them for the color, some kids pick them for the feel.
Whatever works, you know. It's if give you confidence, anything that's going to help you perform within the rules. And, you know, with teenagers, you just never know what it's going to be.
Well, usually it's the most expensive.
Well said, as we get several nods of the head throughout the press area with that comment. That's our line of the day so far. Here are the Cougars back with the free kick in here. Just past the midway mark of our opening 40. And a couple of Holy Names players still waiting for their opportunity to check in, and I think they'll finally get it right here.
Considering the ball is in the parking lot and almost out to the street by now.
And actually, I think it will be one of the players that will go and try and track it down over there. Katie Kipp out onto the asphalt over yonder to grab that one.
Making a stop at Starbucks, checking her email.
Well, we are adjacent to the Puyallup Fair, so you might be able to pick up an elephant ear or two. And if so, I'm taking orders. No score between Holy Names and Liberty in the consolation of the 3A state championships here. Coming up later this afternoon, it will be Columbia River against Mount Spokane for the state title. Columbia River seeking their second title in the last 4 years, winning it back in 2009. Both those teams undefeated this year. As they said, I think back in Highlander, only one will remain standing. Undefeated at the end.
Caitlin Faust with the shot on that last charge for the Cougars.
We've seen some ebb and flow with the activity. It was Holy Names working the offense for a while. Then Liberty had a swing at it here. And now Holy Names now pressuring the Patriots defense. Working that right side this time. Long lead pass, a little too strong. Goal kick coming up.
Trying to time those runs is so difficult. About the only players that you see do it really well are those who play in La Liga and EPL and some of the Mexican players. And just the elite players can time those runs so beautifully. But as you see the progression up from age group to age group, you start seeing them wanting to take chances every now and then. And in that particular case, Katie Chandler saw an opportunity, but the ball just a little bit too far.
They'll work it again here, although Noonan pokes it away. Back for the Patriots momentarily on offense. Now it's back the other direction for Holy Names to midfield. Patriots securing it back.
Most of these players used to playing on turf, but sometimes the bounces on particular fields will be a lot higher than others, and until you get the judge of the lay of the land, so to speak, sometimes pretty difficult to settle that ball.
Another throw-in coming up for Liberty. 16 and a half minutes to go in this opening half of action. 0-0 between a couple of Puget Sound area teams. Liberty out of Kingco and Holy Names out of the Metro League. Cougars might have a shot at this one, but it's smartly poked back to the keeper Ellenberg by the Patriots back line. That was Leah Grefton with that move. Patriots will see if they can work that left sideline, but the Cougars close on defense. A nice takeaway there. Working that pass, but they'll lose the handle and back the other way. Holy Names, we mentioned 15-6-2. Liberty 14-4-1. Liberty getting here courtesy of a 2-0 win over Shorecrest in the opening round, and then a 3-1 victory in the quarterfinals over Bonnie Lake. In that one, Kiana Hafferty with a couple of goals. They outshot Bonnie Lake 20-6 yesterday against Columbia River. Liberty outshot River 10-8. Substitution, as Holy Names will have sophomore Hannah Powers into the midfield. Here's a shot, nice swing, cleared out by the Patriots. One of the better opportunities for the Cougars thus far. Now look to set up offensively again with just under 15 minutes to play in the first 40. This one lost out of play, and the Patriots will look to set things up again.
And it's so often that a player who just comes onto the field is one of the first ones to touch it because they're anxious to get into the match. In that particular case, Hannah Peters put just a little bit too much on it, goes into touch for a Liberty throw-in.
And you see the usage of the benches here in this consolation matchup as we've played 25 minutes now. This is Faust trying to get it back. Holy Names trying to get back onside as they'll work with it here. Katie Chandler whistled for the offside. That's that battle between those forward and those defenders, those forwards and defenders, is that you try to get as close of an advantage as you can, and sometimes it's inches.
And it's a bit of a chess match as well, because sometimes you'll see some fakes there, and one player will think, oh, I can go. Oh, maybe I can't.
Yep, and it's another one of those errors that can crop up and frustrate the coaches as well, but you've got to have those opportunities and make attempts at that, and it'll be Patriot ball again.
Rachel Phillips into the lineup for Liberty now, making her first appearance.
We talked a lot about the coach of the year, the coaching staffs, Teddy Metalis, the head coach at Holy Names, and Tammy Wynn at Liberty. But they both, as you might imagine, placed several folks on the first team of the respective all-league, all-conference teams, several second-teamers, and many honorable mentions. In fact, for both teams, you could probably rattle off the entire starting lineup, and they made it to at least honorable mention status.
And it's interesting that Tammy Wynn, now in the high school coaching ranks, you know you're getting older when you remember them just starting to play, and now they're coaching. Had an opportunity to feature her quite a bit on the high school sports blitz back in the old days when King 5 used to run that. And then following her college career, and now in the coaching ranks.
Now, and Tammy Wynn, the former Tammy Bennett, we mentioned earlier, among the state's career scoring leaders, 152 goals at Seattle Christian, and went on to the University of Washington, where she's second in career goals there. Here's a shot on goal, but right on the mark is Amy Ellenberg with another save.
Kelly Johnson with the shot. Oh, pardon me, wrong team. I apologize. Sometimes when you're doing so many games, you get the rosters mixed up.
Katie French, I think, getting that one for Holy Names. And
at least we have readable numbers today.
that is true. You know, I call it the Oregonification of uniforms and such, that you get some of these numbers that they are incredibly difficult to read, but we've got good clarity here today. And it helps when it's not rating. That's for sure. Throw in coming up here for Holy Names. About 11 minutes to play in this opening half. And both teams having some opportunities, but not able to finish yet.
And Katie Kipp almost giving Holy Names a huge opportunity there with about a 50-yard boot down into the area, knocked out by the Liberty defenders, and now Holy Names with an opportunity, but nobody home.
Nope, off the mark with the throw-in, and the Patriots able to clear. But here's a nice header back into the mix, and smartly on it is Ellenberg to scoop it up and send it back the other way.
Chandler was on the doorstep, not quite knocking. But she was definitely within doorbell reach.
The Cougars will have it back once again, as the Patriots haven't spent a great deal of time the last few minutes in the Holy Names end of the field. Holy Names recovering from early illness and injuries, made a real late run to the Metro League title and its first 3A semifinal appearance since 2007. They're also winning the accolades of state academic champions, carrying a 3.77 GPA.
And you can never discount that, especially when you're talking a soccer team that has a lot more players on it. Carrying that team GPA is pretty impressive.
And very impressive. And, of course, with 10 seniors on the roster, 6 of them heading out to play collegiate ball, including Katie Chandler, will go to Washington University, Division III school in St. Louis. Cougars with another opportunity poked away by the Patriots. Also heading off to the next level, Julia Hahn to the Colorado School of Mines. Katie Faust to Claremont College, Mackenzie Oliger to Claremont as well. Angela Fisher to PLU, and goalkeeper Kayla Baskett heading to become a Gooey Duck down at Evergreen State College.
And you might say Colorado School of Mines, really? But the fact is they actually have a pretty good athletic program there. It's one of those obscure programs. I can't tell you their nickname, however.
Miners, perhaps?
Could
it might be, yeah. Somebody will text in, I think, and let us know.
That would be hashtag John doesn't know. We had hashtag Bill doesn't know yesterday.
No, it's not the School of Mimes. It's not a mime college. It's mines. Yes, let's work on our enunciation.
That would be the silent attack.
8:25 to go in the first half. 0-0 between these Puget Sound region teams. It'll be Southwest Washington versus the Spokane area in the state championship. Columbia River against Mount Spokane, respectively. If you couldn't tell by the names of those schools. Giving you a good indication there. Cougars trying to see what they can do to get on the board here against Liberty. And again, goalkeeper Ellenberg. She'll be back for Tammy Wynn's squad next year, as they'll look to return once again to the state championships, having had a runner-up finish last year, hoping for a third-place finish this year.
The School of Mines nickname one of the classics. I'd never heard this before. The Ore Diggers.
It makes sense. So many of them don't, but that one makes sense. Patriots looking to get a little counter going, as right now it's been Holy Names that's been occupying most of the possession here in the latter stages of this opening 40. Alex Webster along with John Horton here on the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington, Les Schwab Tires. 2012 3A Girls State Soccer Championships, the consolation matchup.
Have they ever fit that on a marquee yet? The entire name?
Just a scrolling. Here's the feed into the right corner, looking for it. Yugdal centering out front. Cougars clear it briefly. The Patriots not home to counter. Here's a shot on the way. This one off the mark as Tara Johnson, a junior for Liberty, had an opening there with some space, but could not find the angle.
And credit Katrina Holt for keeping that ball out of the net with a nice sweeping motion.
Goal kick coming up.
Those things don't get on the stat sheet, but they mean an awful lot. In indoor soccer, you will have blocks as part of the statistical makeup, but not in the field game. Yes, I was brought up on indoor soccer.
Well, many of us here in the Northwest remember the leagues put forth in the Puget Sound area and the teams here.
I was a member of the enemy. I was the play-by-play man of the Dallas Sidekicks when the balloons were kept up in the rafters in Tacoma in front of 22,000 people at the Tacoma Dome.
Well, as it is, it is the parents of many of these players that remember those leagues, and of course everyone ecstatic about the success of the MLS in this area, and of course that with my young children also as well, really sparking the imagination of this game amongst the youth of the area. It's always been a fantastic state for this sport, Washington has.
And sometimes you wouldn't think that with the weather that we have.
I'll tell you what, if there's any kind of game that will keep you hustling, moving, working a sweat, it's certainly this one that'll keep you warm out in these less than stellar temperatures. And I think fortunately for everyone, the rain subsided last night. Nice lead pass, great header. That was A.J. Fisher to get it back for the Cougars. Starting to see some late momentum here by both of these offenses here as under 5 minutes to go in the first half. Somebody looking for that initial tally on the scoreboard.
Speaking of the scoreboard clock is official in these tournament games to the point where now, unlike most soccer games, you'll see them actually scrambling to try to get a shot off by the time the clock hits zero, where most of the times the official has that in his pocket and will call it when he believes it's the right time.
And yesterday we saw in one of the semifinals an adjustment with the extra time added prior to the finish of the half. There's been good communication on that at these 3A semifinals thus far, and here so far in the consolation, although we have not had much stoppage in play, fortunately.
And in one of the 4A games, it was Issaquah with a goal with 5.3 seconds to go in a golden goal period.
Wow, that was in that overtime last night. As these two Puget Sound area teams battling in the consolation, but in the 4A, they're going to be duking it out. Skyline and Issaquah, two teams, rivals, not very far from one another, battling for a state championship on this same stage later today at the 4A classification. Under 3.5 to go. It's like all of a sudden everybody's decided to put it in another gear intensity-wise. I have to say we haven't had a lot of aggression, a lot of intensity, but folks may be starting to wake up a little bit.
Yeah, Kiana Hafferty seemingly going against the entire Holy Names team on her own. Had an opportunity, but couldn't quite capitalize on it. And now with just less than 3, Liberty looking for that killer of a late goal and a half.
It is Liberty now starting to come alive on offense, although this one swept out by Katie Kipp. Past midfield, trying to see if she might be able to catch lightning in a bottle, looking for Katie Chandler, the senior striker, down at the other end.
I think Kipp's ability to kick the long ball is just as dangerous as the throw-in ability for Katie Noonan. Just unexpected opportunities come from that.
Also the danger of the set pieces in that mix. When you've got Noonan who can launch it, as accurately as many, and with the distance, and put it into a good position, it's just as dangerous as some of those other set pieces.
Under 2 minutes now.
2 minutes.
And that might be as much time as it takes to recover the ball that has found its way to the parking lot once again. At least this time it's a Liberty player having to exert the energy to go and track it down.
Going through the drive-through, has ordered combo number 3. Got her change back, and oh, she's back.
I think for both these two teams, I think the opportunity here in a 0-0 contest, I don't think either team's too upset about the delay there. They'll look for a last-second opportunity to make some change in that scoreboard and shift the momentum one way or the other, but more and more it's looking like we'll be playing the final 40 with the game on the line. In a 0-0 affair, 70 seconds to go. Liberty with it back deep. The pass to Noonan on the near side. Challenged there by the Cougars. A lot of fight in these Cougars down in that offensive end, but the Patriots so far up to the task. Have kept this one scoreless. A feed in front from Mary McCambridge, but nobody there to follow it. 44 seconds now on the clock. Another long lead pass into traffic. Liberty tracking this one down. Molly Cook over there took a tumble.
Katie Chandler with an O'Day-like hit down there. Like one from the brothers' school. Just moving out of the way.
O'Day and Holy Names, the all-girl, all-boys combination private schools in the Seattle area. Well known and well established over the generations. Under 10 seconds to go. And it looks like, barring a miracle here, we will head to the half with a 0-0 affair. Holy Names ranked 7th in the state. Liberty Patriots ranked 5th. We're scoreless at the half. And we'll be back for second half action after this break on the WIAA network.
Fans, pick up your official state champion.
At Les Schwab, along with great prices, our tires come with the kind of protection most other places just don't give you, which includes free flat repairs, equal value replacements, pre-trip safety checks, and more for the entire life of the tire. With the other guys, well, you just never know. So why is free protection on your tires good to have?
Lifetime protection. That's our best tire value promise. Les Schwab, doing the right thing since 1952.
The future of our state is very important to Washington dairy farmers.
And it starts with our youth. The dairy farmers of Washington have been partnering with the WIAA for years. Sports are very important in building good work ethic.
They help students by teaching them discipline, teamwork, dedication, and preparing them for the challenges that they're going to have later in life.
The dairy farmers of Washington encourage you to support local youth by attending WIAA championship events.
The future of our state is very important to Washington dairy farmers.
And it starts with our youth. The dairy farmers of Washington have been partnering with the WIAA for years. Sports are very important in building good work ethic.
They help students by teaching them discipline, teamwork, dedication, and preparing them for the challenges that they're going to have later in life.
The dairy farmers of Washington encourage you to support local youth by attending WIAA championship events.
At Les Schwab, along with great prices, our tires come with the kind of protection most other places just don't give you, which includes free flat repairs, equal value replacements, pre-trip safety checks, and more for the entire life of the tire. With the other guys, well, you just never know. So why is free protection on your tires good to have?
Lifetime protection. That's our best tire value promise. Les Schwab, doing the right thing since 1952.
Welcome back to Sparks Stadium in Puyallup, Washington. The WIAA Network presentation of the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Les Schwab Tires 3A Girls Soccer Championships. This is the consolation matchup between Holy Names Academy and Liberty High School, the Cougars and the Patriots. 0-0 after the opening 40 minutes of play. And while we were at the halftime intermission, the Holy Names Cougars were acknowledged for their state academic championship. A 3.77 GPA for Holy Names. They're in the white tops and maroon bottoms. Liberty in the blue. But what a accomplishment again for Holy Names as they come out firing here on offense. Alex Webster along with John Horton. Final 40 minutes to separate one of these from the third place trophy. Here's a feed as the Patriots look to counter. Almost a handball there. But Holy Names with that academic accomplishment to go along with a Metro League tournament title. Cougars had a look inside there for the moment, but the four defenders for the Patriots in blue able to sweep that one away.
Katie Chandler saw a couple of teammates right in the area. Usually she's the one that's in the area looking for the shot.
John, what do you expect in this second half between a couple of teams hailing as champions of the Metro and King Cove 3A?
Well, if Holy Names goes off the long balls like they did in the first half, something's going to break for them. And especially with a talented striker in the front in Katie Chandler, I think that's their best opportunity. For Liberty, it's just keep on playing consistently. I mean, there hasn't been many holes in the Liberty defense, and although right here there's a great chance for Holy Names.
As they work it in front, that's Chandler dumping it inside, but it's Amy Ellenberg, the goalkeeper, who had a few saves in that first half.
Officially, only 7 shots by the two teams combined.
3 for Liberty, 4 for Holy Names. Both teams even with a couple of fouls. Emily Sadolanek of Holy Names credited with 2 of the 4 shots for the Cougars as they work it here into Patriot territory, deep in there in the box, but cleared out one more time. Here on the near side, this is Katie Kipp, back row player for Holy Names, making sure that the Patriots don't go on the fast break there. And here on the near side for the Patriots, it will be Molly Cook that will range for the throw-in. Katie Noonan working those throw-ins from the other side of the field.
I haven't been down on field level enough to notice, but it looks like there's almost a little crown in this field, which might explain why a lot of the balls just happen to trickle off into touch from time to time.
Very good point. Both these teams should be well acquainted with the surface now, having played over 120 minutes with their semifinals yesterday, and now the first 40 in the books here. 36 minutes and 52 seconds remaining in this contest, the battle for third place in the 2012 3A Girls State Soccer Championships. Great stadium here, Sparks Stadium in Puyallup, Washington. Stone's throw from the Puyallup Fairgrounds.
A scones throw or a stone's throw?
Sign me up for a few of those scones, absolutely. I'm not sure if they travel as well as a stone, but they are darn tasty. Here's Holy Names back again, as they've been the aggressors here in this second half thus far. Nice challenge for the ball, maintained briefly by the Cougars, and now poked away by the defense. Molly Cook over there. Make that Nicole Marlowe, one of the midfielders, dropping back to help out. The inside, Chandler again. Chip shot towards goal, a little too high. But trying to put it where Amy Ellenberg may not have had any shot at it. Nice idea.
And a good-looking shot on the spin. A lot of times the casual fan will watch and just see balls just flying over the goalposts, and if there's a football field, they'll fly through the field goal posts, and a lot of time that's just trying to get it right towards the top bar. Sometimes they'll fly just out of exuberance or a missed kick, but many times the strikers are going for that top bar, knowing that if they get just under it, you've got a goal. Even if it hits the crossbar, it creates a lot of problems for the other team as the ball coming out the other way.
And the Patriots now trying to get their best offensive look of the second half here. Working on that far sideline. Noonan goes into challenge to take it back away from the Cougars and getting some help there. They try to center it up, but Holy Names pushing it back to midfield. And seeing some pinball action right now. Both teams trying to figure out who's going to take control of it.
Yeah.
And we've got a foul whistled here. Handball. So free kick coming up.
Yeah, that was Michaela McGonigal coming down, and you could tell she hit the ball with her hand, and she went, I didn't mean to do that.
So a little wall set up here by Holy Names as back in goal. Kayla Baskett. They're readies for this shot coming up. It looks like it will be Kiana Hafferty. Hafferty or Molly Cook here.
I think they're both hanging around there.
Yep, couple of players, not any indication. Now here it comes. Hafferty with the shot at the goal. Basket bobbles, but able to take that one and haul it in for a nice save. Hafferty navigating that wall, but right at Kayla Baskett. Hafferty, the first teamer out of the KingCo Conference, one of the seniors for Tammy Wynn out there at Liberty in the Issaquah School District. Holy Names on the counter. It again controlling most of the possession in this first, or rather second half, and the Patriots getting that one surge and then that great opportunity off of the free kick off the handball. And the Patriots now trying to seize some momentum back. Long feed up ahead to the wing. Kaylee Ugdahl in that right corner, pushing off a little bit, getting challenged, and has it taken away. In that back line, Katie Kipp and A.J. Fisher, along with Michaela McGonigal and Claire Capilotto in that formidable defensive line for the Cougars, who head coach Teddy Matalas has mentioned has been more of a second half team this year. We see some substitutions for the Patriots.
Jordan Heyman, number 6, McKenna Lindbergh.
Jordan Hemman.
Kelly Johnson.
Kelly Johnson also checking in. Holy Names with some change up.
King,
Camariah King,
Julia Hahn.
the sophomore forward. Julia Hahn also in, but you know, someone who we've not talked about, I'm not sure if she's seen the field yet, but Camariah King, who was a late spark plug for Holy Names in that semifinal yesterday, getting a lot of strong looks, just a sophomore, and part of the future of this Cougar program. You'll see her there, number 4 in the front line in white. Keep an eye on her as the Cougars look to try and draw first blood on this scoreboard. The Patriots, though, with it in their own offensive end and losing the handle down there for Liberty. McKenna Lindbergh, who was fresh in, and a goal kick earned.
Lindbergh and Katie Kipp facing off there. Kipp's done a remarkable job marking whoever comes down there. She's kind of I called one of the other players an Energizer Bunny in the midfield line. She's the Energizer Bunny of the back line.
Here is King trying to mark Liberty's Tara Johnson. Patriots getting it back. This is a team that very offensive-minded, and I'm not sure if recovering from a little bit over that shootout semifinal loss yesterday, a little bit of not playing with as much aggression as maybe we saw yesterday, but now trying to put things together in this final 40. A strong challenge there, and a little bit of indecision from the keeper, Kayla Baskett, but finally once she decided, she got there in time as the Cougars had someone in the neighborhood. Just about 10 minutes gone in this second 40 in this consolation matchup. Patriots playing overtime yesterday in their semifinal against Columbia River. Losing a heartbreaker in a shootout, 5-4, as they had to go to 7 rounds. Several late misses by both squads, leading to that 7th round. And at Columbia River, the victor, they'll play for the state title later today against Mount Spokane, a decisive 2-0 winner over these Cougars of Holy Names.
Beautiful slide.
And up ahead, the Cougars on the attack. That's King in the middle. Out on the left wing, that's Chandler. Chandler bearing down, pushed down. No call. Patriots come away with it. Now working it back to midfield. Little push there in the back, but again, letting them play. Cougars back on the attack. There's King. Had it poked away by Liberty, getting it back. That's Kipp coming up from the defensive backfield to help work that offensive set. But the Patriots will get the goal kick here.
Hannah Van Amen almost getting caught with a handball there, spun around very quickly because she was inside the area. That would have been very costly for Liberty.
Especially down in this neck of the woods. Quick inbound from King. They work it in the middle. Chandler with a look. Back out to midfield. Little stumble on that nice feed in. Got some numbers for the Cougars, but swept away. Leah Grefton in that back line. Taylor Sakira, Leah Grefton, Molly Cook, Katie Noonan in that back row for Liberty. And that one back over the end line. One more time. So we've seen both teams with their opportunities in the early part of this second half, but again, as the challenge was for both these teams yesterday, getting the finish and completing that score. Patriots working it up ahead. Lead pass. Anderson on the wing, shooting wide.
Credit Caliana Johnson with a beautiful pass. Starting an opportunity that just couldn't be, as you said, finished by Liberty.
And that was Kelly Johnson who had that look just a moment ago for Liberty. They'll try to set it up again. King trying to keep it in play, cannot for the Cougars. So the Patriots will look to set up shop again. And again, an offensive-minded team that's put together big numbers throughout the season. Scoring as many as 7 goals against Sammamish, 6 against Sammamish, 6 against Juanita. Yet to get untracked in this one. 0-0. As we've played 13 minutes in this second half. Here's the Cougars squirreling it away. Got numbers out there on that wing. That's Katie Chandler again. Bearing down, evades one defender, not a second. Back out and retained. Katrina Holt now. Near side. Pushing towards that corner. Taken away by the Patriots one more time. Can they get a counter going? They work it up ahead. Little 4-on-3 here. Lead pass. Kayliana Johnson against the defender. Feeding. Trying to get it back. A.J. Fisher turning it around for the Cougars.
That's probably the nicest sequence we've seen in this match. Beautiful, crisp passing started by the sweep out by Tara Johnson, and that just started a sequence that looked like it could have led to a pretty nice run, but nothing on the board for the Patriots.
Claire Tavasu, a freshman midfielder, will check in, as will senior forward Emily Sadalnik.
And this is where you're starting to see some of the players that coaches are trying to give them a chance to play in state, and I always think that's great.
Here's an opportunity for the Patriots, but again, poked out by Holy Names, and it looks like Liberty will go to their bench here at the next opportunity. Nice feed up to King, but it's Noonan who picks it away in the battle of jersey number 4 down there. But you can see the tempo starting to pick up for both squads as we're inside the final 26 minutes of regulation, 0-0. And for Holy Names, they get shut out yesterday, 2-0 to Mount Spokane. You know they'd love to get a tally on the board and have something to take away from this state championship experience. And here come the substitutions for Liberty, as Nicole Marlowe will check out, get a little breather, as will Kayleana Johnson. Into their stead, Sammy Harrell, sophomore forward, and Danielle Weber, a sophomore defender, onto the field for the Patriots. Scrum at midfield, foul whistled, and Patriot ball. They waste little time getting it back into play. This is where they love to execute in the offensive side of things, but the defense for Holy Names has been good. Coming into the state tournament, they'd have 19 goals in second half action. Were stymied yesterday, and they'd love to pick up a second half goal here for head coach Teddy Metalis and the rest of the coaching staff of the Cougars from Holy Name. Their first playoff win since 2007 when they defeated Peninsula in the opening round. They lost in the first round both in 2009 and 2010. Katie Noonan can be lethal with these throw-ins, so keep an eye on it. Nice line drive throw that's intercepted by the Cougars. Patriots gathering it back in for a run. Now the counter. Up ahead, that's King. Going one-on-one. Able to beat the defender. Pass off to Chandler in front of the goal. Shoots, scores! Chandler on the board for Holy Names, and there's one of those second half goals.
And you thought King was going to take the shot there, but when she couldn't get around the defender, she saw Katie Chandler going down the far side. Chandler just reaches out with that left foot to take it into the right side of the goal, and finally one of the two teams has cleared the dust out of the nets, and that team is Holy Names.
Holy Names, ranked 7th in the state, had come into this semifinals yesterday, winners of 8 in a row, and now look to be poised for potential third-place finish after securing their first playoff win since 2007. Camariah King getting the assist on the goal by Katie Chandler. Coming with 23 minutes and change left to play here in the contest. Plenty of time for Liberty to equalize. No doubt Holy Names wants to keep the pressure on and see if they can create an even greater margin. Foul whistled here, and it will be Patriot ball. The inbound coming from Tara Johnson. For Liberty, this may be kind of where they want to be. They'd had a challenge here in the state championships the last couple of years of playing with a lead. Perhaps playing from behind will give them a little more motivation. Some substitutions for the Patriots. Sydney Abel coming in, as does Kayleana Johnson. Holy Names, we'll see if they're able to maintain the momentum. The Patriots will need to bear down and put at least one on the board here.
Kelly Anderson, the player without the number on the front of her jersey. I don't know if that's, she lost her jersey early in the year, it got torn or something or other, but she is out with the brandless jersey on the front, but the number on the back.
What do they always say? It's about the name on the front and not the name on the back of the jersey.
Well, she's playing for blank.
There you go. Well, she'll play for the team right now with the 1-0 lead, and these seniors wanting to go out on a winning note, 10 of them on the roster for the Cougars. Katie Chandler, the goal scorer, will head off to Washington University in St. Louis.
Yeah, you always have to make sure you say in St. Louis because people go, Washington University, isn't that in Seattle?
Outside of the area they do, don't they? You go to other parts of the country and we're the other Washington, but we know better. Another attack here. Secured by Amy Ellenberg for Liberty. That was a great goal just a moment ago at this end by Katie Chandler, assisted by Camariah King. That is the tally on the board. And it comes here in the second half, and the Patriots trying to mount their own challenge to try and get even, force overtime, or maybe get a couple of tallies. Still over 20 minutes to go. Patriots on that right wing looking for the center, but into open space, and Patriots gathering it back. Here on the attack from distance, but Ellenberg, or rather Baskett, is there for the stop. Kayla Baskett, the senior goalkeeper, not credited with any saves yesterday, allowing a couple of goals. And in the first half of this one, did not record a save. Had strength in that defensive line. Holy Names trying to keep that pressure on the near side, Sadolinek. But the Patriots challenging. Whose ball will it be? No indication. There we go. Patriot ball. So if you're Holy Names, you've got to keep that defensive-minded attitude here, but you can't completely forget about trying to add on.
And the aggressive teams are always a lot more fun to watch.
Here's Camariah King. And coming out, that's Ellenberg. This time able to race to it before the Cougars could get to it. One more time.
I mean, that's one of the things that has led to the popularity of soccer in this town is the attacking style of the men in rave green. They're constantly going for the offense. Very rarely do you just see them sitting back waiting for an opportunity to happen. They're just going towards the goal.
Here's a challenge on the way. Shot on goal. Deflected, I believe, by Baskett away, but I believe a corner coming up.
And Baskett put her hand over her heart and went, we avoided that one.
That was a tremendous shot on angle from Kelly Johnson off that right wing.
Having deflected going the opposite way. It's like trying to throw a football of the American football type with your right hand while you're going to your left. It's tough to do.
Corner on the way, and that one challenged, I think, headed by Holy Names, out of play, but rebound. Shot a little bit off balance and could not be controlled. Tara Johnson, a little swing, and did not quite get the leverage she wanted on that one.
And while Baskett didn't have to handle the ball, a lot of Holy Name defenders just bunching up right around her. Sometimes keepers get really annoyed when the defenders are right in front of them because they want to be able to see the ball, but in that particular case, Cougars the better for it.
Katie Chandler, the goal scorer, will get a little breather here as Katrina Holt will come in and replace her. Here's a long feed up the left side. Holt fresh in. Here's a potential shot challenge. Stopped and nicely saved by Amy Ellenberg. Hannah Powers, I believe, was there on that strike attempt. Nope, check it. It was Julia Hahn. That was a familiar spot for Chandler just a little while ago. But Hahn here will earn the corner.
Camariah King playing the annoy the goalkeeper role right in front of the goalkeeper.
Keep an eye on King right here as they look for the header from the back. Yeah, oh, close. Patriots will get the goal kick. A lot of good action here on both ends here. And now the second half of the second half. We're in the final 20.
Normally you'd call that the fourth quarter, but that doesn't quite make sense in soccer.
16 minutes to go more to be exact, although we'll see if there's any time added. But right now it would appear to be minimal at best. So the Patriots have some time left on that board, but need to get on that. It only takes, as one of the teams in the 4A classification learned last night, 5.5 seconds in a golden goal opportunity in overtime to get that shot.
And they can happen as fast as 20 seconds from midfield, as we found out yesterday.
And the Cougars, though, keeping that pressure on, where sometimes the best defense is that good offense, and you got to have the ball to score. And right now the Cougars trying to maintain possession of it. That veteran squad out there. Liberty with more of the state championship experience, but in terms of seniority, if you will, the Cougars have that advantage. And they maintain the pressure here on that far side. Annie Flora on that side along with Katrina Holt there. Now back out to McGonigal. They'll work it to the back row. Why not? Not exactly a stall technique as much as trying to find some space in there, but you got hemmed in along that sideline. It's hard to find the adequate space. Ollinger battling, had it taken away by Anderson of the Patriots.
But so many times you'll have coaches say, play it along the sideline because it gives you a little bit of an extra opportunity. It might be bunched up there, but you'll see somebody that might be open in space, and from that sideline position, pop it to them really quick, and suddenly you've got to run.
You can build up a lot of monotony with that play in one particular jurisdiction of the field, and all of a sudden, all the other players start to fall asleep a little bit with all that play over there on that far sideline, and opportunities can be created. Here's one they're looking for down the right sideline, but protected by the Cougars. Looks like last touched by Liberty. So Holy Names now 14 minutes and then some separating them from a third-place finish here in the 2012 3A Girls State Soccer Championships. Alex Webster along with John Horton here in this consolation matchup between the Metro League champions Holy Names and the Kingco 3A champs, the Liberty Patriots.
And a rare occasion, actually seeing a foul called.
And there weren't many fouls called in that first 40. That was Liberty with 2 and Holy Names with 2. We've seen maybe that many called here in the second half.
The officials haven't been calling a lot of fouls altogether, at least in the games I've been seeing here. King really playing physically down in the attacking third.
And we saw that a lot yesterday late in the game, coming on strong for Holy Names, although unable to capitalize with a score, but she can really be a bee in someone's bonnet down there in that goal box. But right now, Holy Names able to, so far, hold on to the lead. And for Liberty, a sub in, Morgan Childs, sophomore defender. We'll see some time here. Cougars still looking to attack here, owning that 1-0 advantage with 12.5 to play.
Slightly different look in the amount of substitutes coming in today. Limited substitutions is a choice by both coaches in their semifinal games, but in the third place game, allowing some more of the players to be able to play, have a state experience in the big house here at Spark Stadium,
as well as give some of those youngsters that experience here on this level, so that perhaps next year or the year after and even some freshmen into the action here over the next few years. An opportunity to pull back on this memory and this experience in future opportunities. Liberty will try to work the counter here as they look to get the equalizer, but Katie Kipp gumming up the works for a moment, but Patriots back on the attack. Left wing, Sammy Harrell looking for the centering pass, and the Cougars are there to knock it back out towards midfield. Pinballed back towards the Liberty end, but good defense again. Kipp, Capilotto, McGonigal, Fisher, and company in that back line, helping protect their goalkeeper, Kayla Baskett. Liberty going to challenge again on that far sideline. Sydney Abel lost the handle, but the Patriots keep. Again, working that right sideline, but the Cougars there to sweep it away. Hemmen working with it for the Patriots. Intercepted in stride. Sadolanik up the right wing. Little 3-on-4 here. Shot on goal deflected. Sadolanik trying to corral it down there with Tara Johnson on the defense. Corner will be earned. And the Cougars keep an eye on Cameria King down there in the goal box, right next to the goalkeeper, Amy Ellenberg. And the Cougars could really put a nail in the coffin here if they can drill one home with just a little over 10 minutes to go, already leading 1-0. Julia Hahn will take this one, the left-footed boot into traffic. And the Patriots getting their head on it a couple of times. And the Cougars will lose the handle as it's knocked out of bounds. Annie Flora, one of the freshmen in the contest, with a little bit of a freshman miscue there, although right now a ball out of bounds will buy some time for the Cougars, who have the 1-0 lead. Liberty with the throw-in, gaining a little bit of yardage as the Cougars knock it out one more time. Scrum near midfield, still battling in traffic. Liberty midfielder Lindbergh. This one up ahead for the Cougars. A little breakaway. This is Hahn and King, but they had it poked away. Counterattack from the Patriots. Stymied on a missed pass there. Holy Names. Up ahead, Hahn one more time. Working that left wing. A lot of bumping going on down there. This one centered to King, and the Cougars back with it one more time. This one deflected out of bounds. And Holy Names will have it with 8.5 to go.
Lone goal of this match at the 57th minute by Katie Chandler with the assist to Cameria King. And 8:18 to go in the second half.
This one always a contest in the consolation final where you get the champion feeling good about their season, wondering what might have been, and the ones that come up a little bit short, leaving after a couple of losses, wondering kind of what happened.
And a lot of times when you're a senior, it might be your last competitive game, and that's what makes it so heartbreaking, and that's actually why both teams play so hard in this matchup.
And you've got that, you know it's your last opportunity for many of Holy Names and their seniors, 6 of them moving on to the collegiate ranks. They know they've got some more competitive fire to come, but this memory of high school, one that you keep forever, you want it to end on a positive note. Speaking of positive notes, here come the Patriots, but the Cougars quickly back on defense to poke it away. Katie Kipp one more time. They'll continue to work that sideline. Can King hang on to it? She does. Pokes it to the mid. Here's McGonigal. Shot. A little too high. Make that Hahn with it. As Hahn and King have been working that front line since Chandler left. I haven't seen, I think, Chandler check back in. Perhaps her work done for the day. No doubt that should the Patriots score, that we'd see Chandler back into that mix, I think. Patriots, though, looking for that equalizer. They've got under 6.5 to go now. Cougars ramping up the defense. They've had it on display the entire game. Pitching the shutout here. King with a nice touch pass. Up ahead, that's Hahn. Was she onside? They say she was, but it was too long.
I feel like I should be talking about the scoring combination in some heavy New York accent going Chandler King, but I'm sure they're very good friends.
5:52 to go.
It's the things you think about on a Saturday morning early.
Well, that is one of the things, this consolation contest starting at about 10 a.m., followed by the 4A consolation, and then the championships take center stage. We'll have the 3A competition for you as Mount Spokane takes on undefeated Columbia River. In fact, both those teams undefeated, vying for the 3A state championship. We'll have that contest for you here on the WIAA network coming up at 2 o'clock this afternoon.
And right after that, it will be Issaquah and Skyline in the 4A championship, a battle of two powerhouses.
The state will be well represented in the championship matchups. When you look at southwestern Washington with Columbia River, the east side of the state, the far east side with Mount Spokane, and then, of course, the Puget Sound area. More specifically, that area right off of I-90 with Skyline and Issaquah doing battle. It's almost like they decided to come to Puyallup to have a neighborhood brawl. 4:43 and counting down. Holy Names trying to hang on to this slim lead. Patriots running out of time. Cougar ball. So another opportunity for Holy Names in possession. And, of course, right now with that ball running free, as we've seen with a lot of these out-of-bounds situations, that the players have to go and track down the loose ball. And if you've got that lead, you may not make as much of a sprint for it as perhaps you might.
You think?
There's the throw in. I think probably about 20 seconds off that clock. And right now, Holy Names, that sideline is their friend.
Oh, there's a ball back there? Okay, I'll go get it. I've been running real hard all game. I think I'm going to take it a little easy. And with these games with a fixed clock, you have to imagine that 4 minutes on is pretty much crunch time, especially when you do have the balls that just fly into the corners.
If you think about it defensively, it's maybe 3 or 4 more opportunities, depending on how well you work your own offense. And as they say, you can't score without the ball, so the more Holy Names holds on to it offensively. And again, another loose ball here, tracked down, and Annie Flora showing at least the effort of a jog, now slows down to a walk to track this one down, and we're nearing the 3-minute mark. Teddy Metalis in company with Holy Names.
A full 30 seconds have gone off the clock before the throw-in there. Tells you what kind of a difference it makes.
Yep. Holy Names not going to take the foot off the pedal here as they've got it in the offensive end, looking for a shot, and Ellenberg will let this one go off the end line. She'll need to get that ball back into play quickly, and the wind really starting to kick up here at Sparks Stadium. Some of that northwest weather we're seeing here in the month of November leading up to Thanksgiving.
And it's right in the face of Liberty goalkeeper Annie Ellenberg.
King intercepting. Controlling for the moment. Patriots get it back briefly. 2:17 to go. And Holy Names just shoveling this one out of play one more time. Patriots needing to get something going Holy Names making it incredibly difficult. Another push out of bounds. This time Oliger. 2 minutes to go. And Holy Names looking right now that they will acquire the third place trophy unless the Patriots can come up with some late magic. Here's an attempt. Good feed, race to the ball. Looks like the Cougars will get there first. And this one swept out of bounds by Katie Kipp. The rain starting to come down a little bit, and a little bit sideways as well with that breeze out there. So that November weather starting to kick in the latter stages of this one. Patriots down to 1:24. Here's a look. Left wing, centering pass. A little too tall for the striker in the middle. They were looking there for Kelly Johnson. It'll be Holy Names ball with 1:10 and counting down. Inbound coming from Annie Flora. And they'll keep it tucked nicely in that corner, but three blue shirts struggling to get in front. They'll want to kick it downfield, and they do. Under a minute to go. King feeding back deep. Patriots in pursuit. Time for one more opportunity here. They'll work the near sideline. Big boot up ahead. 36 seconds now to go. Holy Names getting it back. Looking to wind the clock down. Perhaps one more attack for the Cougars. Patriots, one more shot at it with 25 seconds to go. Ball loose, but more white shirts than blue back there at midfield. Sadolinik with 15 seconds to go for Holy Names. In front, Hahn lost it out of bounds. 6 seconds to go, and it looks like Holy Names is going to come away with the third place trophy here at the 3A State Championships. That is it. Time has expired as the wind kicks up almost in celebration for the Cougars of Holy Names, who win this one 1-0 on a goal by Katie Chandler in the 57th minute with an assist from Camariah King.
And a lot of credit has to be given to the Holy Names defense. I mean, you talk about Katie Kipp just absolutely taking most of the balls and just putting them down out towards the midfield area. It seemed that we were calling her name an awful lot when Liberty would try attacking.
Liberty, a valiant attempt. This year they were oh so close to making it to the championship game yesterday, having to go to penalty kicks to have that one decided yesterday and narrowly missing. They come to the consolation game and lose a heartbreaker here 1-0 to the Holy Names Cougars, who were happy to be here. They win the Metro League tournament title. They win the academic championship with a 3.77 GPA, and not a bad finish for the 10 seniors on the roster as they will capture the third place trophy. That presentation made in just a moment. Here near center field, we'll see if we can capture some of that. Coming up next will be the 4A consolation as the Camas Papermakers take on the Tahoma Bears, and then it's nothing but championships after that. The 3A title on the line between Columbia River and Mount Spokane at 2 in the afternoon, and then Issaquah and Skyline do battle around 4 o'clock in the 4A state championships. You see there in the middle of the field the presentation of the trophies. It will be the Liberty Patriots in 4th place, the Holy Name Cougars in 3rd place in this one. As that presentation about to be made here, we will break away as we'll have the 4A consolation coming up in a little bit. We'll actually keep it right here for the presentation as we have that upon us. There is the handing of the 4th place trophy to the Liberty Patriots there. And the photos will be taken in celebration of the presentation, and it's a kind of a dubious honor, not the one that they had hoped to take home, but they take a trophy nonetheless.
And those look good in the trophy case, no doubt about that. If you're going to make a great run and a season to remember, you want to put the hardware in the trophy case, and they achieved it by making it here. But Holy Names, a little bit nicer piece of hardware. That, the 3rd place trophy.
And this is the trophy being awarded right here at the moment as representatives from the WIAA and the Dairy Farmers of Washington award the 3rd place trophy to the Cougars of Holy Names, who wrap up their season 16-6-2. And they are pleased with the final here today. That'll do it as the final score in this one. Holy Names defeating Liberty 1-0. That's all for now from Spark Stadium in Puyallup. You've been watching the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Les Schwab Tires 3A Girls Soccer Championships, the consolation matchup on the WIAA Network. Thanks for joining us. 4A Championship, or rather 4A Consolation, is next on the WIAA Network.